Welcome to Savills Shares, where the main course is real estate every day. Joining us today, we have Winnie Wong, Managing Director of Savills Property Management. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack.
Property management is a little like a hybrid of customer service with an operation crew. How accurate is that perception?
Property management is managing the day-to-day operations of a development, including managing all the service contractors that provide services to the management. As part of property management, we have to address some of the issues and feedback given by the stakeholders, residents, or even occupiers of a development. So in that respect, a little bit of customer service naturally will have to take place because you have to have good customer service to be able to be tactful in handling some of the feedback, some of the complaints. So yes, property management is no longer just brick and mortar, but also includes a little bit of customer service in that respect.
How has the role of property management evolved in Singapore over the last few years?
Property management is no longer just managing with a team of on-site staff, managing all the service contractors, addressing residents' concern or stakeholders' concern, but it has also sort of, over the years, with technologies, we've introduced quite a fair bit of technologies in property management, not just from the managing agent, but also other service contractors. For example, with cleaning, we have introduced, a lot of cleaning contractors have introduced robots cleaning to take advantage of technologies to make sure that the building are better cleaned in that sense. We also introduced technologies in some of the washrooms area, for example, sensors, that kind of thing too. The managing agent, we also introduced a mobile application, sort of a customer relationship app to allow residents to use the mobile application to make booking of facilities, to communicate, to give feedback directly to the staff on site. They don't have to make an effort to come down to the office just to give feedback. So that reduces their need to come to the office and improve efficiency in that manner. At the back end, with these technologies, we also can track the kind of feedback that we receive from the residency, how certain things are fair, how certain things are not done appropriately, with too many feedbacks on certain breakdown or whatever. Then we can use that information to better manage the development. The other part of technologies that has also been introduced is also to bring in technology at the guardhouse, for example, so that residents and visitors can come into the development in a quicker manner. It also reduces the pen and paper model of security guards trying to ask for the residents or visitors particulars, for example. So that reduces quite a fair bit of paperwork, so improve efficiency at the guardhouse itself as well. So these are some of the technologies that has evolved over the years, and it has somehow helped the condo development to get, or even the building management and the managing agent to better and efficiently manage the development.
We are familiar with property management in residential developments, but you also handle property management for commercial buildings like shopping malls, industrial and office buildings. What are some of these key differences between managing a residential versus a commercial property?
Well, basically, property management, essentially the principles of management, whether you manage a residential, commercial, shopping mall, they are basically the same, which is we have to make sure that the building, the development is in good and serviceable condition. The key difference is obviously the stakeholders and the people that within the development. For example, in residential, we deal mainly with residents. In commercial building, the stakeholders are office users, the stakeholders are different. In shopping malls, you have shoppers, So the expectation and the needs of this different class of people definitely will be different. Residential, we deal with more day-to-day issues that's very social. I call them social because it's very close to individuals' heart. Residents, after a hard day work, you go home, that's your home. So we deal with social issues, social feedback, or even something very close to their heart. Whereas in office building, we deal mainly with occupiers such as office people, their requirement, their needs are different. They want to make sure that, we have to make sure that the aircon within the development are at its best condition, the lifts are always functionable, that kind of thing. So their kind of feedback or issues are slightly different, as compared to if you look at shoppers. What would we expect if we are a shoppers? When you go to the shopping mall, we expect to have that kind of great shopping experience. So the kind of feedback and expectation would also be different. So the key challenges are how to deal with different class of people residing in different class of asset, or occupying in different class of assets. So that's the key challenges. But basically, else principle of management are the same across all class of assets.
And what are some of these social issues?
Typically, they are particular. For example, if the lift lobby are clean, if there are sometimes we do face with problems. For example, mosquito breeding. They tend to feedback how come there are more mosquito this time around. Why are some of the facilities not functioning? So, for example, the gym equipment, or sometimes they could have issues with their neighbors. So, as managing agents, sometimes we have to act as a liaison officer between the two neighbors to resolve some of the issues that they may have. There are also social issues. For example, some residents may complain or feedback that why their neighbors upstairs are smoking, for example. So these are some of this. I call them social because it's very close to heart. Yeah.
What are the key challenges managing agent firms face today?
Typically in Singapore, we have close to about 4,000 strata title development. So the key challenge that most managing agent firms face today would be manpower, because we have developments, but a lot of managing agent firms, including ourselves, are finding it a little bit difficult to find manpower to be able to join the industry, to partake in managing a development, for example. So this is something that all managing agents face today, where we find it very difficult to attract talent into doing property management of strata title development.
Why do you think that is so?
Property management to some people is not sexy. Actually, property management is a very big role. As a property manager, one has to cover the operations of an estate, the administrative part of it, to handle the finance, to handle the customer service as well. So we have, as property managers, we have to address the day-to-day operations within the development, attend to occupiers, residents' feedback and complaint. So it's actually pretty a big job in that sense. So an individual, you really have to have a great endurance and good time management skills to handle the various aspects of property as a property manager.
What are the most important considerations for management councils when selecting a property management partner?
Some considerations are, firstly, reputation. A reputable business track record that the firm has is important. Secondly, accreditation. The firm should be accredited with a industry association, for example, the Association of Strata Managers. Thirdly, the financial health of the managing agent. You have to ensure that they do have good financial standing. And fourthly, the professional expertise as well as the capability that the management agent firm can provide to the stakeholders, to the buyers. And of course, the other one is also to ensure that they do have good head office support team. The people that is within the head office are of certain accreditation as well as standards, and the size of the managing agent firm is important as well. You should also ensure that the managing agent do have certain insurances that they have already had in place, for example, the professional indemnity insurance. Lastly, of course, is the tender price that you should look at as well.
Now, property management is more than just ensuring that the property is being well kept. It also involves building on relationships with the management council, residents, or tenants. How do you navigate these complex relationships?
One key important point would be communication. Communication is the key to navigating the complex relationship, whether is it with the stakeholders or whether is it with the residents or occupier. Because if you are able to communicate, or if you communicate with the respective party, you can put across response to their feedback. You can hear what they have to tell you. So it's important. Communication is not just about speaking, but it's also about listening. After you listen to what they want, then you give them your opinion, or even if certain requests that they put forward to you is something that's not doable, by communicating back to them, it's important to tell them why it cannot be done, and maybe that can give them a better perspective as certain requests or feedback that they gave may not why it cannot be done in their favor in that sense. So communication is always the key, because by communicating, you not just give response, but you also hear what they want, and then you can improve the service after we hear some of the feedback that's given to them as well.
Now, there are obviously a lot of condo bylaws and do and don'ts. How does a managing agent firm ensure their enforcement?
Bylaws are essentially the means to regulate communal living and aid in resolving issues that may arise in the development and are necessary for the smooth functioning of the day-to-day operations within the development. In any breach of bylaws, the MA will usually first communicate verbally to the person who have breached the bylaw and ask the individual to rectify the breach. If it doesn't work, the MA will issue a written notice. If all else fail, the MA may advise the Management Council to apply to the Strata Title Board or even a court for an order to enforce the bylaw.
And how does a managing agent coordinate and oversees regular upkeep and repairs within the development?
As managing agent, the team on site actually take care of the day-to-day operations that includes managing all the service contractors. Various service contractors would have a team on site to carry out the necessary maintenance work, so we are supposed to supervise them. Of course, as property managers on site, we also have to walk the ground to check for defects, to check for things that are not in good working condition, and we have to arrange for rectification with the service contractors as well.
Now, some condos have an on-site managing agent while others may work remotely. What are the pros of each option?
To decide if a development should have an on-site managing agent team or to work remotely depends on the size of the development as well as the budget of the MCSD may have. If a condo is quite sizable, more than 200 units, for example, typically there will be an on-site team. Smaller development that are less than 100 units, the MCSD may not require an on-site team. So the pro, of course, of having an on-site team would include you have more personalized service, you have a team on site to address issues quicker or more, and also to be able to supervise the service contractors to ensure that they do service efficiency on site. The other pro would definitely, as I mentioned, is to address the residents' feedback or complaints more expeditiously because you are on site to be able to handle the issues quicker. The pro of an off-site management team would therefore mean that it will result in cost effectiveness. Because when you don't have an on-site team, you don't have to pay for the human resource costs.
Now, I know that you love hiking and you had recently covered Death Valley in the US itself. What are some of your more memorable hiking trails?
I picked up hiking a couple of years ago. Some of the hikes that I have sort of find them interesting and remembered them are the one in Canada's Canadian Rockies, because as you hike, you look at the sceneries, you look at the nature, and it gives you a very pleasant when you try to hike it. And the other one that is quite interesting was where I hiked the Roy's Peak in New Zealand. That was a very strenuous hike. It took me 6 hours to hike up and come down, but it was a very elevated hike. So you really take a lot of energy to even to go up and come down. Death Valley, which was something that I just did 2 months back. Death Valley, I went there, basically was to test my own endurances, a challenge that I put to myself. Death Valley has known for its extreme weather. When I was there in August, I managed to endure a 50 degrees centigrade weather when I was there. Of course, with 50 degrees centigrade, I'm not able to hike because my physics cannot take it. But I think it tested my endurances in that sense, and I'm grateful and happy that I have made it.
Now, if you can survive 50 degrees at Death Valley, Singapore weather should be chicken feed.
There's still a difference because Singapore weather is more humid. You perspire or whenever even you walk within the 33 degree, but when over there, it is very dry. So it's a different kind of heat wave that you have to endure when you're there. So again, I said it tested the endurance of an individual.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you, Winnie, for joining us.
Thanks, Jack, for having me.
You can go to YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify for all the latest episodes of Savills Shares. Until then, God bless. This podcast is for general information only and should not be taken as professional advice. Savills accept no responsibility or liability for any direct or indirect or any consequential loss from the use of, reference to, or the reliance on this podcast or its content.